We finally got more info for Tomodachi Life 2, also called Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, with this brand new and very promising trailer. Now, if you're as obsessed as me with this game, you've probably already seen a bunch of analysis videos, but I found some stuff that a lot of people didn't mention and some details people just didn't notice. Now, a bunch of these are just my theories, but as a longtime Tomodachi fan, I'm sure I got some of it right. The trailer starts off with some Miis just chilling on the beach area, and there's a Mii actually playing the guitar, which has probably been gifted to him by the player, meaning the leveling up system, as well as being able to gift stuff to your Miis as they level up, is most likely coming back in this game. Later in the trailer, we also see some more proof of this with the horror book, for example. Now, the next scene is one that sparked my interest a bit more. Besides the new clothing items seen here, as well as all throughout the trailer, we see that the houses have what seems to be mailboxes. Now, this was something we could see in the first trailer as well, but it's quite an interesting design. Will we or the Miis be able to send and receive mail, or is it just part of the house design? Another thing that sparked my interest is that various houses have various decoration on the side. For example, the yellow house barely has anything, while the green bluish house has like more stuff on the side. This might mean that we can make at least some decoration choices to the exterior of the houses. Another shot, for example, we can see that various houses have various different door colors, but if this is the way it's just designed, or if it's something we can actually choose ourselves, is not entirely clear yet. Now, a little bit later in the video, right before we get to see the title, we actually once again get a full view of the island. This time it's a bit more zoomed out than in the last trailer, which tells us a lot about what the game will look like. First of all, the wider and more zoomed out view shows us a lot more houses. I do, like many of you guys, still worry about the amount of people, or Miis, that will be fitting on an island since we have houses instead of apartments, or at least that's what the trailer has been showing us so far. Especially because the island doesn't appear to be too big, but I don't know, I'm sure it's something the devs have kept in mind. Now, we have seen this in the previous trailer, but it's definitely worth mentioning that the quick build building, which implies some form of customization on the island or houses, has gained some stuff on the side compared to the last trailer. This, to me, shows that the feature is still being worked on and perfected, which means it's probably a new feature that hasn't been in any of the previous Tomodachi games. The new parts of this, however, do make it feel more like it's something to work on exterior stuff, because it does seem to be sort of like fences or plants or stuff like that. However, we haven't gotten any further information in this trailer either on what exactly the goal could be for this building. Another thing worth noting is that with this wider shot of the island, we can now clearly see that the left area has some kind of weird indent in the land. This could possibly be for boats. We have seen some further sailboats around the island, but it is unclear if this water place will be used for boats that Miis can use, for bringing back some sort of visiting system like Street Pass in the prior games, or if it could be something completely else, like maybe a mini game or a fisher's market. There has been a lot of indication of fishing being a thing, like these fishing rods at the side of buildings, but it could also just be a weird indent in the island. I'm really not sure about this one, so I would love to hear in the comments what you guys think this is for. Next, we finally get a proper look into the customization, which a lot of people, me included, have been very excited to see. Though I am glad that they kept the customization system fairly similar to the old game, it is important to note the few differences seen in this new trailer. However, I will only briefly go over this topic because a lot of analysis videos have actually already done a pretty good job at pointing out everything there is to see in this part of the trailer. The most obvious change they added is the great amount of new hairstyles and even the possibility to separately customize the front or bangs and the back of the hair. There's also a ton of new colors and the ability to have a secondary or subcolor, only changing part of the hair. A few other things they added are the ability to remove stuff like noses and eyebrows, new mouth options, and to address the elephant in the room, the Miis now have ears, though it is likely possible these are also removable. Now, probably one of the most interesting parts of this trailer is the insight we get into the rooms. Now, the few rooms we do see do make me wonder if we can customize the rooms at all, or if it's just full sets like in the old games. Because, for example, this K-pop anime type of style room is just completely that, which kind of makes me feel like we don't get a lot of customization. However, this next clip is insanely interesting to me and actually made me decide to make this video, since no one else really seemed to have mentioned it. We see a pretty organized interior of just a bunch of shelves and accessories, probably being another set that we can't customize. However, on one of the shelves, we actually see a picture frame with a picture of the Mii that looks a lot like the one we see in the clip. This, to me, heavily implies that we won't only be able to get the ability to take pictures back, even though there hasn't really been a clear sign or building on the island so far. But this clip shows that we're also likely to be able to hang and put these pictures in the houses of the Miis. Because let's be honest, wouldn't it be kind of strange if we had this like pre-built design and it just came with this picture of this random Mii? In the same clip, we also see our Mii having a problem problem for us to solve. And meanwhile, in the same color, we see a number 5 over this symbol of what is assumed to be our Miis. After we see our Mii getting fed some lettuce, we actually see this number go down from 5 to 4. This being a clear indicator that this will be how we can see if any of our Miis have a problem. Which is honestly a great idea for a Tomodachi game that focuses more on the Miis being outside and not just like in their rooms. So I think this is indeed a great idea to show us that the Miis have issues without us having to, you know, go through the whole island to try to find a Mii with an issue. After the Mii called Alice has been given this piece of lettuce, we can also see that she's in the ambitious category and seems to be an achiever. These are actually both not personalities that we've seen in the original game. This means that either we're getting new or more personalities, or they have renamed the old ones. Now this next part is something that gets talked about a lot, but I did feel like including it in this video because it is such a new concept in a Tomodachi game. Being able to drag your Mii towards another Mii, kind of forcing some sort of interaction, and being able to clearly see the dynamic between these two Miis is incredibly interesting. Though these Miis got along, I really hope that there will also be Miis that, besides your help, just do not get along, since the frustration of trying to get some Miis to get along just for them to not work out is something that's honestly kind of nostalgic. The trailer ends with a sequence of a bunch of what seems to be dreams. Now, them already showing this many dreams clearly is a sign that they're a big part of the game, though maybe all these clips aren't actually dreams and some of them are just situations that happened on the island. But to know that for sure, we're gonna have to wait until either the next trailer or until the game releases. And I think everyone already knows this pod, but the game is releasing in spring next year. I'm personally going to be streaming this on my Twitch because I really want to see how many of these things I got correct, and I also want to give my viewers a chance to create Miis together with me. Share any theories that you still have about this game that I haven't covered in this video in the comments below, and I'm gonna read all of them because I'm obsessed with this game.